and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Every 4 weeks I do a Procreate video where I try and transfer my fine art painting skills to Procreate. This week I thought I'd show you how I did this tiger in Procreate. I have put a link to the photograph I used if you want to have a go at this one yourself. Number 1, edges. The most important thing to understand about this reference photo is that there are very few hard edges. Therefore, you'll need to use a wet brush for most of it. The brushes that I will be using are the turpentine brush, the wet acrylic, the stucco and the pencil tool. I have drawn around my tiger's reference photo and will keep this on my top layer. This is a very simple way to keep your drawing correct and will allow you to be expressive with your brushwork without the worry of messing up your drawing. I have started a new layer and will be working on predominantly this one layer. I then start blocking in my areas using the wet acrylic brush. I am selecting an average colour, value and temperature. I am not attempting any detail. I just build my strokes up to the point where the artwork resembles a basic version of what I'm looking at. I then switch to my turpentine brush. This painting is all about the edges. I need to use my turpentine brush to pull my different sections into each other. For example, I need to pull that body into the water. I need to pull those fur stripes in the direction that the fur is lying. If I were to make all my edges hard on this painting, look at how much that affects the end result. This is why I need to work all on one layer, because the brushes behave more like paint and will allow me to pull it about. I am aiming to paint the impression of what I'm looking at. If I compare the reference photo to my finished painting, you'll see what I mean. Do not attempt to paint all that detail in the water. The turpentine brush will not allow you to do this anyway. Keep your brush strokes larger and expressive. Lay strokes both vertically and horizontally and resist the temptation to lay too many small strokes in this area down here. A few small strokes to suggest the ripples in the water will do. If you overdo it, you'll know because this area will start competing with your tiger. If this happens, just increase the size of your brush and go over the area again to remove the detailed work. An easy way to not see the detail in your reference photo is to look at it with half-closed eyes. By doing this, you will only see the large blocks of colour, value and temperature, which will mean you can concentrate on painting this only. Number 2, colour and temperature. I am selecting my colours by eye. Do not use the colour picker because whilst it selects the correct colour of the reference photo, the turpentine brush does not lay it true. It lightens it, especially as it picks up whatever is underneath. Therefore, you need to understand what you are looking at. The orange of the tiger's coat shifts from warm to cool, from muted to saturated. The black areas also shift from warm to cool, as do the white areas. The white areas also have the addition of significant value changes too. The easiest way to do this is to work with complementary colours. Complementary colours are colour and temperature opposites. When you lay them together, they always work and they simplify the colour process by giving you a warm, cool palette. For the fur, I am working with orange. Its complementary is blue. Orange is warm, blue is cool. For the water, I am working with green. In this instance, green is cool, red is its warm complementary. Therefore, if I want to cool down my tiger's coat in these areas here, I am laying a very transparent muted blue over my orange. In this water area here, I have also laid a very muted blue over my orange, and those flecks of brown in the water have been selected from my red colour picker. I have gone very saturated with my warm red complementaries, but kept my blues very muted. This dark area down here is a black-red. Notice how that pops against the green. It's doing that because green and red are opposite, and so I am getting contrast. Had I used a black green or a black blue, it wouldn't have had the same effect. Notice how much colour my white areas are carrying. There is blue, orange and green in that white. As a rule, I will start with my dark white areas first and then build up to my lighter areas. Notice how a lot of my tiger's stripes are carrying orange. I will lay this colour first and then begin to lay my black over the top, paying attention to the temperature. If it is warm, I'll use an orange black. If it is cool, I'll use a muted blue black. This gives variety to the stripes. You do not want them all one colour because it will look odd. Work hard to really see the colour and temperature in your reference photo. Brushwork. It is quite tricky using the turpentine brush on one layer because the pixels move around quite easily, and getting it to do what you want it to do takes patience. For these detailed areas around the face, I've built it up gradually with many transparent small strokes. I'll lay a few strokes, look at my reference photo and then decide how near it is in value, temperature and colour to what I'm looking at. If it's correct, I leave it. If it's out, I adjust my colour picker and have another go. The trick is to keep your layers very transparent and build them up gradually. Look at how I'm pulling my edges into each other. If I get to the point where my turpentine brush really isn't working for me because it's pulling the paint around too much, I will switch to my stucco brush. Again, I turn the transparency right down and I am able to lay strokes over the top without being too precise. You'll need to experiment with the opacity, but err on the side of caution to start with and then increase it if necessary. For the tiger's stripes, I am laying my strokes both down and across. It's really important that you lay them both ways. Avoid the temptation to just draw them in like this because it will not be effective. You need to pull the middle areas into and through your stripes. You'll find that when you do this, it will destroy the black line you have created. Destroy, then fix will give you that effect. It's very time consuming and takes a lot of patience. Notice also how I've pulled the edges of my tiger into the water using my turpentine brush. Just select your fur colour and with a transparent stroke, pull it up and into the background. You can also go the other way and select your watercolour and then pull it into your tiger. Don't overdo it though. Just a few strokes will be enough to break up your tiger's outline and integrate it into that background. Lastly, I should mention those whiskers. I've now changed my brush to a pencil tool. Notice how much colour there is in those whiskers. On this side here they are blue. Also notice the value. They are quite dark in some areas. The easiest way to draw them is to start a new layer. Once drawn, take your rubber and turn down the opacity so it is quite transparent. Gently rub away the ends of your whiskers so that they are less prominent. And that is how I painted this tiger in Procreate. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.